Yeah.
Thanks,
so
dude.
Here we are with Federico Aubele. That's how I say it. And you can say it Aubele as well.
That's how I like to say it.
Aubele. With Time Drips on My Bed, his latest record, released in October on his self-funded label 13 Records through Virgin Music Group. So we're excited to have you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for having me.
It was
In
great.
our Great Hair
great.
Studios,
Thanks.
you have the best
You have the best hair.
that we've seen
We
so
called this
far.
place Great Hair Studios because a friend of ours, when we said we're opening a studio, he's like, a lot of great hair is going to come out of there. We're like,
With whether or not the recordings are good, man.
yeah, but I don't know if the music will be good, but the hair will be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But your show, like, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, but our friend and colleague
yeah.
over here, Dylan, produced a show at Mercury Lounge that we all were thrilled to attend. I mean, I haven't been to that venue in probably 10 years,
No,
maybe.
I have. But
I've done a lot of awful shit in that
it was
venue.
what, yeah. We were talking about it when we were in the bathroom. We're like, man.
We used to spend all night there.
Yeah,
but
we used to
we were
hang out
so
in the
happy to be there at
bathroom.
like 6 p.m. to see
Yeah,
a
it
calm,
was an early show.
a calm show with like just one person playing on a stage. It's just such
It was
a
beautiful.
different experience.
It was
you know?
beautiful. And it was nice to not have like a band or it was just you and a guitar. And
Thank you.
It was beautiful. And I learned a lot about you just from your like introduction to your songs. That you like lived all over the world. So you're from Argentina,
Yeah, I grew up in Buenos Aires, in Argentina.
Oh, wow.
And
the Paris of the South.
yeah, they used to call it that.
Yeah, right.
Totally.
Yeah.
I know. And then I moved to Berlin first,
Okay.
in Germany, and then 3 years later I moved to Barcelona.
Barcelona is amazing.
It's a beautiful
We
city.
love it. Las Ramblas.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Joel and I have spent a lot of time in Barcelona, I should say, looking at Gaudi sculptures and smoking
Yeah.
Moroccan hash.
yeah.
Those are our hobbies.
Very available.
Two hobbies. And I
There are
hear
two hobbies in
vermouth is
Barcelona.
very big there now. Right?
Yeah. So Barcelona, which was your favorite city so far?
I think, I don't know, Berlin is the one I always connected with the
Right.
most. But it's also, was my first experience living outside of Argentina.
Right.
So, it always have a special place in my
Right.
heart. But, if that city would have been, I don't know, Rome, I probably that place would
Right,
would take
right.
my Rome. So
They're all good.
we all have a Berlin in our hearts.
Yeah,
So,
this is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Wow.
regardless of the actual city.
Yeah, this
So
is.
I assume like each spot you went, you've been making music in every place. Have you been? I mean, you mentioned a lot of these songs. You mentioned walking through the medieval town of a medieval part of Barcelona the other day.
Yeah.
that song was sick.
Thank you.
What was the name of that song?
En cada lugar.
Is that on
In each
this
place.
record that I have?
No, that's an older one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jinx, I gotta get a new one. Gotta get the older record, everybody.
Gotta get the
buy
back
another
catalog.
record. I'm
gonna have to
That's
buy-
how they get you. You like the
to buy
music
them
and
all,
you buy
man.
all of them.
So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that record. I mean,
I'm
I
like
really
Amazon.
enjoyed that song.
People who
and-
like this also about this.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly right.
Suggested.
You do
Yeah,
the
that's
package,
amazing.
Man. You do the package. You get both for $30.
Yeah.
But I was really thrilled to be at the show. Like Jason said, we were learning about your travels and about your upbringing and about your parents and about
His childhood. and
your childhood in Argentina.
you were playing like a song that I think you said your father really loved, or it was like a.
It was related to a song that your
Yeah.
father used to play on the radio a lot, or
It was. My parents had this beautiful record by the Bolero trio, Los Panchos.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Mexican Bolero trio.
Nice.
It's beautiful, beautiful songs, and they used to dance to it a lot, and it was so nice to see them dance. And
That is so sweet.
yeah, and then I have this memory like sitting in the living room, seeing them dancing, and then just like this autumn, like very yellow light coming through the window
wow.
and falling on the wooden floor.
I can just imagine it.
It was a very cinematic memory. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like
Years later, I discovered Bolero by myself and realized that I already knew a lot of those songs.
That's amazing.
From that experience. And
That's amazing.
the emotional connection was even stronger because I connected it with seeing my parents in love dancing to the song. So
and
yeah,
it's
it was
amazing
very
you can make like a good cover song your own, right? Like lyrics and the playing, and it fit right into your set.
I don't think
thanks
that was
so-
a cover song, was it?
It wasn't. It was
think that was
inspired.
an
by
original.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I think that was an original
I
song.
misunderstood.
That was inspired. That was like
Thank you, Joel.
An amassment of different.
Thank you for
songs that he heard
clarifying.
over his childhood.
Okay, no, that makes more sense to me.
That
Okay.
was inspired by it.
I wasn't sure because it fit right into the set. I'm
But
like,
yeah,
wow.
I could see how you could be confused.
Of course. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I get confused a lot.
But I'm here to keep you on
We all
track,
do.
man. I'm here to keep you on track. So I mean, the show itself was incredible because it was so intimate, and
Thank you.
The sound itself was just so, you sounded very soft, but you could hear everything very
Soft but
clearly.
powerful.
Yeah,
Thank
everything
you.
clearly.
Yeah.
I love the little bit of reverb, and so it worked perfectly for me.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, it's
Joel's
so,
show reviews.
I just love being able to hear everything, and like also just being able to like everybody's being quiet because they actually want to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what
It's
I
a
mean?
respectful audience.
It's interesting that nobody, when that you play softer, that the room becomes quieter, right? So
Yeah.
you know, it's actually like when you speak quieter, you have to listen, you have to listen harder, right?
Yeah,
So people
yeah.
pay more attention to these nuances that you're doing.
Yeah, it's intimate. It creates intimacy.
Absolutely, and if people are connected with it, even a room like that, like the Mercury Lounge, goes
Yeah.
quiet, which is great. When it doesn't happen, though, it's horrible.
Yeah,
Just standing
please.
there, being all intimate with your guitar and vocals and everything, and people are like,
Yeah.
Playing in the
Chatting
room,
and
playing in the
talking.
room at a reception or
Yeah.
something.
You got to get somebody with a stick with a hook on it. Get out of here. Pulling people out of the audience.
It happens more often when you're opening for someone else. It's not
This is
really
true.
your audience.
Your audience, exactly.
And, so there's like 5 people who are really into it, and the rest is just like drinking beers.
Right.
I mean, what stage in your career are you now? Are you not the opening act anymore? Or are you like when you? I mean, you seem like you've got a lot of fans.
Yeah, I do my own touring. Yeah, I'm not opposed to opening for any band that would make sense to open for. But yeah, for the most part, I just do my own touring.
That's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
exciting.
And I try to now I'm sticking to this format, guitar and vocals.
Yeah.
And for the next tour, which will be in September, I'm planning on adding a string trio.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So yeah, I think
That's
it's
what
gonna
you usually do for the third album, right? Is the string trio?
Yeah.
That's
No, but
cool.
that's-
So you
that's
have
exciting.
The traditional string trio, along with just you and your guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll add a French horn as well, so it will be a
That's
quartet.
amazing.
So like a small chamber orchestra
Nice.
of
Love that.
sorts. Yeah, I think it will elevate the guitar and vocals experience.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure. Have
Those-
you ever played with a percussionist or?
Yeah, with percussionists, yeah, and even with drummers. I had a full band at a time, but yeah, I don't know. Over time, it kind of I started feeling like certain elements weren't that necessary anymore. So
Right.
I started getting rid of parts, and what I enjoy the most now is doing these acoustic sets.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It just feels like the atmosphere in the room is so. It's really what I connect with.
Yeah, I thought
nice.
it was very. There was all different kinds of people there. There was like a Korean outfit of girls that really liked you.
Yeah.
That were young students, and then there were like an older couple. And then there was like a really older couple. Yeah. And then there was like the twin brothers.
I mean,
in the
you didn't
back.
see everybody in the room,
You
but
could see
yeah.
everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, and then like, you know, even like the sound man was really paying attention, which is really
Which is
Yeah,
very
which is
unusual.
usually unique. Yeah, they usually go to the bathroom.
So, you know, like
Yeah.
it was just like everybody was paying attention. I felt
Yeah.
really good about the whole
Well, just
show.
to like take it backwards, like how did you start? Like what was the beginning
Yeah,
of
like
your music? When
sitting
did you
in-
start writing songs and being
Well, I started
being an
way
artist?
back when I was I started playing guitar when I was 11.
Okay.
And I think like shortly afterwards I started like trying to write my own songs, mostly based on like early Beatles records and
was
stuff
it
like that.
acoustic guitar that you studied originally? or-
Yeah. My mother had played guitar, but and her guitar was underneath my bed. That's where
Oh,
it was
nice.
stored.
That's nice. Okay.
It had been stored
convenient.
underneath my bed for a very long time, for years. And then so I picked it up and started with that. Over the years, I bought an electric guitar, an amp. And strangely, little by little, over many years, things led back to the Spanish acoustic guitar,
Yeah, right.
and
Using the nylon
that's
strings.
it. Yeah,
Nice.
totally.
Yeah.
And to the point where, like, these days I don't even have an electric guitar anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
I have way
Yeah.
too many guitars and they're never touched any longer. And now I've like degraded to ukulele. So whenever I get on a guitar, I'm like, what are these 2 extra strings for?
Too many strings.
I'm like, nah. But I admire your guitar work. It's really, really clean.
Did you
And,
study flamenco
thank you.
guitar
Yeah,
ever,
like, what
or
was your?
I'm just curious because there
'cause these
are
are
elements in your music that sound like almost flamenco picking,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
slower, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the same scales,
Okay.
pretty much. But no, what I did study is classical guitar.
Okay.
I have a classical guitar background, and then from like listening to tango from Buenos Aires, I incorporated some of that, and then some flamenco too, and that kind of, but it's all pretty much the same scale.
Interesting. I didn't know this.
Yeah, a lot of the music from like, well, Spain, obviously, but also like former Spanish colonies in the Americas use that type of scale.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
So that you'll find it in a lot of different music styles
Right.
From the Americas. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And so yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I mean, I loved all the, like, I equate all the little fills and stuff, like the little skateboard tricks.
Thank you.
You know, because you're like doing the main bits with the bar chords and so on, and then doing a lot of the off picking and then maybe a the kind of thing that's like your ollie or your rail slide that you'll see one time in the song.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's like you're waiting for that one cool trick.
Yeah.
And I admired that because I was like, oh, he didn't repeat it. You know,
Yeah.
Or maybe he did repeat it, but it was different. Or
Right.
embellished it each time around. And
thank you.
I pay attention to those types of things.
Yeah, I don't know. I was when I was studying classical guitar,
Yeah.
I realized that you can do so much with the guitar. You know, if you have like a bass, and you can play a bass and a melody on top of the
Yeah,
bass at the same
true.
time. You can even play like a bass and a harmony and a melody. You know, those you can do a lot. And so I remember first thinking, well, you kind of don't need a band with
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
and then and so I kind of like when I started approaching the songs, trying to strip them down to just for guitar and vocals for the show. Like a lot of the guitar riffs that on the album, maybe it's done by an electric guitar or just a Spanish guitar, but just playing the melody and that's all. I started like harmonizing with the bass and the guitar.
Oh, very cool.
And then and kind of like reincorporated that idea of like with if you have that classical guitar training, you really have like several instruments in one. It's more
That's
like
really an
playing the
interesting
piano.
way to think
Yeah,
about
exactly.
it.
That's the
Yeah.
way I was thinking of you playing it. It was more like you had a band going on in your head. Of you know, here's the bassist doing this thing. Because also I noticed you play with your thumb.
Yeah.
You use to play your chords. You were playing a G chord with your thumb.
Yeah. Totally.
What's all that about?
So what's that all about? Let's get down to brass tacks.
It's a G chord.
We told you we
Why
wouldn't.
would you
we,
play
you
with
do
your
it that
thumb?
way?
we weren't going to drill you, but here we go. Now the hard questions. Now the hard questions. What's that all about?
That's probably something that you learned yourself, right? As an adaptation to adding additional notes.
Yes, I mean some
You got to
stuff.
free up your fingers, man.
Kind of like
You know, an additional appendage, like put your tongue on there and whatever. I don't know, man. Honey, come here and hold your finger on this extra string. You know, while I tie the bow.
If I press this chord, this
yeah.
string with my nose,
Yeah,
my fingers.
yeah. I mean, so what are you working on next? Do you have another album coming, or you? I mean, this is an October
Yeah, so it's
release. So
fairly
are you
recent.
putting any singles out, or are you? How are you releasing the album digitally?
Yeah, now it's going to be some singles leading to the September tour.
Okay.
Hopefully 3, but at least 2 for sure. And then and after September, I'm going to go back into the studio, record a full album that's going to come out early next year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
How?
That's
Where are
the
you
plan.
going on tour? By the way, I'm just really curious.
It's going to be a full North America tour.
Awesome.
So mostly the US, both coasts and some Midwest, but also Canada, Montreal, Toronto,
Amazing.
and Vancouver, Mexico City.
Wonderful.
What
And
size
then-
venues are you doing?
Roughly like Mercury Lounge.
Okay.
Joe's
Perfect.
Those are
Pub.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Sell them
it's like-
out and make them nice. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like between 200 and 250 capacity, no more than that.
Perfect. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Do you tour in a van or you tour like just? I mean, it's so minimal, right? Like it's
Yeah,
just you and.
the strings I'm planning on adding, I'm going to hire locally. at
Okay, that makes
each
sense.
place. Yeah,
That's great.
It's
Get 'em some
much
sheet
much
music.
easier.
You know,
Yeah.
do you film your shows ever?
I haven't done that in a while, but I should start doing that
It
actually.
would just be neat to like have all of these like intimate moments, you know, like represented.
Content,
I mean,
baby.
yeah, well, I, mean, I hate the word
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
I mean, content's like disposable, right? That's like
No, I'm just saying,
I
like,
think of like
enrichment.
TikTok or whatever, but I think of like, you know, there's such a huge music scene on YouTube, for instance, and like
Yeah.
I mean, I
just-
didn't even know about you, dude. Like, and I'm like big into this type of music. Like,
Yeah.
you
Wow,
know, like,
amazing.
or big into going to shows and big into guitar, and like now I'm
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
fan of yours. So,
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to tell
you.
everybody about you. So it's like, you
Yeah.
know, that was.
you
like,
have to see this. Well, you have to
see
go to a
this
show, I
believe
guess.
this. Yeah, indeed. If you haven't seen him play, like, look him up.
I love the story that you told, and maybe you can tell it again because our viewers won't know it. about you. Was it your first time in America, your American tour, where you were in Colorado or something?
Yeah.
It was just such a good moment. I'm like, I was laughing. Like, this is amazing. So if you don't, I don't want to ruin it.
No, so yeah, the label had put out a single, not an
What
album.
record company? Were you with a record company initially?
Yeah, at that time I was signed to ESL Records from out of DC. That was like the Thievery Corporation.
Yeah, we know them.
Yeah, totally.
We know them.
Yeah.
East Side Lounge or 18th Street Lounge.
18th Street Lounge.
Yeah,
exactly.
they had a sushi restaurant too.
Also,
In DC, yeah. I remember going there. I'm like, this is Thievery Corp's avocado roll.
The Thievery Roll.
Thievery roll.
I was listening to them this morning on the train.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. They produced my first album.
Amazing.
And,
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
This is
and
very interesting.
So they put out a single. This is pre-streaming days, so things weren't as available as they are now.
of
You
course,
kind of like
of
needed
course.
to know
Yeah, like a
about it
12-inch
and
and
go. Yeah, it was a 10-inch, the single.
Oh wow.
And
I have to seek it out.
and so and they organized for me to come to the U.S. to do a first U.S.
Were you
tour.
living in Germany at the time?
Yeah, I
or-
was living in Berlin at the time.
Okay.
And but I had recently moved to Berlin, so I was still kind of like half of my brain was still in Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
I was like kind of trying to. I didn't know if I belonged there, here, or where.
Yeah.
There was a lot of traveling at the time. I was pretty stressed and always exhausted. So I think my mental health took a hit.
yeah.
And so when I was coming to the U.S. for that first tour, I was very stressed out about like the idea of like touring the U.S. for the first time.
Yeah, it's a
And,
big unknown, right?
Yeah, it's such a big market. So,
Yeah.
and if you don't grow up here, you always hear things about the U.S.
Of
when it
course.
comes up in films, music, culture.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like everywhere.
Yeah,
So
we're big exporters.
it's so yeah,
so-
it's so ubiquitous. So it feels obviously bigger than saying we're gonna have you tour in Italy.
Right,
It's not
of course.
the same.
Sure,
No shade Italy, but
No. Yeah, I completely understand.
You can spend a year in Italy, but you can spend like 10 years and not touch every place.
Yeah, this is
yeah.
true.
America.
Bigger market.
So, and the first show was in Denver. And so I flew in, and from Berlin, it was a very long flight. I arrived there, and the customs officer, at passport control, looked so severe and so serious.
Real serious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with his uniform and his very short hair, and not smiling at anyone at all. And then it's my turn. I give him my passport, and the guy opened it. And it's like, my fear was that he was going to start asking me questions.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous that I was going to start responding as if I were doing something wrong.
No,
which
I mean, this is
wasn't.
true.
Those
This is-
things, like,
I've done this
sir,
before.
what are you
Guilty,
doing?
guilty.
Try to go to Canada. Going to
What are you talking
Canada.
about? What are you talking about?
Going to Canada is the same way. They Americans going to Canada. They don't want you there. They're like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What are you? And I'm like, dude, neighbors to the north. What's going on here? I've made some mistakes at customs in Canada before. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, believe it or not, I'm in the music business. I'm like, get in that room over there.
Yeah.
Music business. You fit the profile of a drug trafficker. I'm sorry. I had to riff on that.
That's like
so this guy is looking at you very stern, looking at your passport.
He looks at my passport, he opens it and is like, are you Federico Aubele? I love your music. I'm like, what are the odds? This guy
That's
knows my music.
You're like, I'm blowing up in America. Yeah, dude. Everyone, even this guy knows
Denver
me.
knows me, man.
Yeah.
He's like, I collect records and I found your single and I bought it and I
It was
really
so
like
random.
it.
That's
I was
pretty
like,
awesome.
this is
So
so random.
Yeah.
And,
That's the most random.
That had to be a
slash-
nice way to start the
slash
tour, though,
auspicious
yeah?
slash like.
Yeah.
it was great. It was so synchronic.
Yeah,
So synchronic.
I mean, it's synchronous.
Welcome to
synchronicity.
America. Like, I
Yeah.
know who you
Yeah.
are. We've been waiting for you.
I know who you are. I'm validating you, and I'm coming to your show tonight.
And I bought
Yeah.
your record.
And I bought your record.
And I bought
Yeah.
your record.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's like, come on in, baby.
At the most unexpected place, you know what? You never expect for the customs officer to know your music.
No, not at all.
No, or in the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know, of
Yeah, it's a
America.
strange place, but you invited him to the show, right?
I invited him to the show, and he actually came to the show at night. And then later, he came by the merch table to say hi, and he looked a lot nicer, friendlier, a lot friendlier
Yeah, the
without
shirt
the
on by
uniform.
then.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
I remember he had a Hawaiian shirt.
Nice. That's how he cuts loose, man.
This is my going out gear.
Yeah. This is who I really am.
Yeah.
Under it.
This
he's
is who I really am.
This is who I really am, man.
This is who I really am.
Yeah.
That's
the guy with
amazing.
the Hawaiian
He knows himself.
shirt.
He knows
That's
himself.
amazing. Can I
There's
ask
actually
you-
a B part to that story, which is
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
years later,
Yeah.
I was playing in Denver again.
Okay.
And I told the story on stage.
And was he there?
And someone handed me a little piece of paper after between songs, which said the customs officer is in the audience.
That's amazing.
And he was there. He came by again to say hi afterwards.
That is so wonderful. You got a friend for life.
Officers are nice people. I remember when we toured for our first time, when we had to get what are they called, Jason? You had to get a visa for every country you're going to.
Yeah.
And this is 1991, so
this is pre-EU.
This is pre-EU and everything. So we were like, hey, we got to go from Amsterdam.
We were in a punk and hardcore band.
Yeah, we were in a punk
together.
and hardcore band that booked our own shows and booked a tour on our teen line and stuff. And we were like, we brought all this merchandise. We brought like boxes of shit, man. And like we were running through the fucking Frankfurt airport with like boxes of shit. And like the customs guys were like, hey, and we're like, just fucking ignored.
We were trying to like get by the VAT.
Just kept running.
What are you gonna sell?
And then like
we
went into Vienna and the guys were like, so what are you guys, like a band? And we're like, no, we're a church group.
Yeah, we said we were a church soccer group.
Here's a bunch of t-shirts.
Yeah.
And like church soccer team.
Church soccer team. Because you kind of had to lie because they wanted to make sure they were getting their taxes on the stuff you were selling in the country.
So we just gave them free t-shirts and that's all they wanted.
Yeah, it was a bribe. It was our bribe. I forgot about that.
I always got good key memories, Jason.
No, I mean, I was going to say, I do remember lying to customs people, but all the time.
No, but dude, we scooted literally, like, they're like, that area where they're like, go over there. And we're just like, what the
Oh, yeah. No, completely ignored the blue zone.
Yeah.
Backpack full of 7 inches and cassettes and t-shirts and oh my God.
We haben Kassetten.
Kassetten.
Yeah, we liked playing in Europe. I mean, the one thing that I'll be honest is the German audiences were very hard. Because the German people don't know really how to lie, like properly, like nicely.
There's no filter, dude.
Yeah, there's no filter. They're like, you're not as good as the first band. And you didn't play.
Your band is not as good as your record.
And you did not play.
We played 40 shows before we got here, bro.
You did not play very long.
Yeah, you didn't play long enough either.
So you didn't like me, and we didn't play long enough.
Yeah, sorry.
I got it.
German
it's a Tuesday afternoon, or it's a Tuesday evening. Go home.
No, but that was culturally something that I think I recognized. Like on our first tour, was like, man, everyone's just so brutally honest.
Yeah.
There's
You
like no
want to get their
filter.
opinions.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, do you sing anything in German, or do you sing anything in other languages besides Spanish?
Spanish and English. No, that's it. I tried to write some songs in German, and which is actually my second language. I grew up speaking Spanish and German.
Amazing.
And English I incorporated later. I went to a German school in Buenos Aires even, but no, I don't know. I did sing. Someone invited me recently to sing on a cover for. Remember Sabina's Cuba from the Brazilian Girls?
I know the Brazilian girls.
Of course,
We love the Brazilian girls.
Yeah, she was
like NUBLU. That whole NUBLU audience was amazing.
Sabine is
We
great.
talked about NUBLU the other day.
NUBLU is like a whole scene in New York.
We talked about the NUBLU Cafe.
It's amazing. Ilhan did an amazing job with that club, and so Sabina was recording a cover of "Where Have All the Flowers Gone?"
Oh wow,
the classic song.
Great song.
And it has a verse because. The song was originally recorded in English, but then there were like versions in French, in German, blah blah blah. So, and that was the first time I recorded a verse in German.
How'd it go?
Yeah, great. Yeah,
Okay. German doesn't seem like one of those languages that sings well. It's like
it's good for cabaret.
Yeah,
that works really well.
I would imagine. What is it?
Kurt Weill. And
that's what I was thinking about. Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you met Melody Gardot? Because you mentioned you worked with Melody Gardot in Paris. Like I love her. I think she's amazing. And
she is.
Like when I first heard her albums, years and years and years ago, I was like, who is this? This is like stunning. And I think she was independent at the time. And when I first met her or first met the music, I've never met her. But I'm a huge fan of hers as well, and the fact that you guys worked together, I thought was really stunning.
Oh yeah, she is amazing. My booking agent at the time had me open for her.
Oh, amazing! Okay.
She apparently had listened to my record. She liked it a lot, and so when my booking agent was like, "This could be a good fit for you," she was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And she was super kind because my booking agent was like, "Well, there isn't much money in opening for another band, and since we were going to be traveling for a whole month, in order to cut costs, my booking agent asked them if I could travel with them instead of like traveling aside, which would have cost me a lot more.
That's nice.
Just get the sidecar on the outside of the bus.
Yeah, my little
dragging a trailer. Yeah, exact skateboard.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And she had no problem with that, so I traveled with them, which was great. And we became friends. And so then after that, she was recording a song by Alain Bashung, the French artist, and which had a verse in English and a verse in French, and so she wanted to turn into a duet.
Oh, cool!
Sort of like like Brigitte Bardot and Jean Birkin and Serge Gainsbourg kind of thing.
Right.
And so that's when we recorded the first time. And then when I was working on my own song, I asked her if she wanted to do the duet thing again, and she was down. So yeah.
So you've done it twice.
Yeah.
So is there a record on Melody's albums with you on it?
No, unfortunately, the Alain Bashung song that we recorded together in Paris that time never saw the light of day.
I'll put it out.
I was going to say, let's release it. Let's find it.
I have it in my hard drive.
Yeah, that sounds amazing though. Very cool.
But mine did, and it was great. And we stayed friends. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great.
We always talk about collaborating.
It's great when great artists like gravitate towards each other and naturally make music together.
Yeah, I mean, like, who else are you working with these days that we might be interested in hearing about?
Let me see. And for my not the last one, the album before the last one, I had Ian from Churches. The band.
Oh, wow.
He plays synths on it.
Love Churches.
Great guy. Ian, Scottish guy, super friendly, super nice guy, and great musician, amazing musician. Who else was there? Mauro Refosco, the percussionist from Brazil, but lives here in New York.
Okay.
Who plays with David Byrne, the Chili Peppers, you name it. He plays percussion on it. Then the string arrangements that time were done by CJ Camerieri, who works with Paul Simon. That was
wonderful.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
He was.
Yeah.
Some pedigree people.
That's
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Some,
I was like,
guys.
I've been living in New York for a while. I know all these people. Maybe it's time to
like bring them into the fold.
Bring them in,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
incredible.
It's wonderful.
It was great. Yeah. It was all super talented people.
If you ever need me to lay down on a cut,
Absolutely.
Joel offers to rap on people's records.
I do a Euro rap pretty good too. So, but, I do whistling and having and uke naturally.
Ukulele.
My one string uke.
Yeah.
Okay. I can have you on ukulele.
Yes, exactly.
Joel will be accompanying you. Joel has this ongoing thing where he messes with the customer service on like healthcare apps and like
Anything.
Amazon, Home Depot.
Like anybody
he talks
chat
about
support.
Yeah, he talks about him being a famous
Demi-famous
opera singer out of New Jersey.
Out of New Jersey that only does the circuit between Princeton and Trenton, and that I can draw about 200 heads, and that I also do like children's programs and stuff. And then like they start responding to me, and I'm like, "Do you like opera?" And they could easily search me up, but I don't know if they're.
Yeah, no, it's why some of your responses you get are amazing.
I get some pretty good fun out of it. Yeah. So it's good, clean fun.
It's been going on for a while.
Nothing wrong with it.
You might have to sing at some point.
How did we actually get hooked up, man? Like
it was through Steve Weatherby.
Steve Weatherby.
Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah.
All right, that was easy.
Well, no, but I mean, so I think Steve suggested Federico to Dylan, yeah? Or am I incorrect?
That's right. Yeah. Long story short, when I was in LA visiting another program artist, reached out to Steve. He said, "Oh, we should link up. I'm going to this guy's show named Federico.
Oh, you were playing in Los Angeles?
Oh, yeah. I was playing a Hotel Cafe in LA.
I love Hotel Cafe.
I had invited Steve, and he had a +1. So
nice.
So did you go to the show?
+1.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you went to the show.
Here we are, dude.
Yeah. And then fast forward.
Hotel Cafe.
Yeah.
And to add some layers to the story, I was in panic mode because for my concert management class with Professor Judy Tint.
Right.
I needed to put on a
Professor
show.
Tint.
Professor Tint. We needed to book an act, and it was about 2 weeks out from the show. Still didn't have an act lined up. And then Federico was based in New York, so I just
boom.
Hail Mary.
Well, thank God he was able to do it.
Yeah.
Thank God he was willing to work with you.
Really cool of you.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
You didn't have to do that.
You know Steve because he's been putting out records with In-Grooves now.
Yeah, man.
So you've been...
How did you do that?
It was interesting because I was with ESL Music.
Right. How did you get independent, I guess?
And then In-Grooves, when it was just In-Grooves, the very beginning, started doing the digital distribution for ESL Music.
Got it.
So the digital leg of my whole catalog with ESL was with Ingrooves. And then ESL went out of business. And they arranged with Ingrooves for them to take over the administration of the catalog. So I didn't have to do anything. It was kind of like transferred to it. You know, they took over like payments and everything, blah, blah, blah. It was great. And then, and that's how I met Steve, because Steve was
like
already there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And over time, Ingrooves was purchased by Universal, and then it became Virgin.
Yep.
Right on. Yeah. I remember when it was all Fontana and all that jazz and stuff.
There was a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But
people,
Steve's wonderful, and I'm glad that he hooked us all up.
Yeah.
Through Dylan.
great.
Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah. Dylan, yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Fantastic.
This was a great interview, I think.
Yeah, no, I learned a lot, and this
Yeah.
is wonderful.
And, you know, if you haven't checked out his music, please go to Spotify or Apple Music and check him out. Obviously, he's got some videos on YouTube as well. We're going to put the links below in this thing. Smash that subscribe button, like us as well.
Yes.
We put out a new
Appreciate the
episode probably every week if we try to, if we can. And look us up on earthprogram.com. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.